You're listening to Speaking Stellar Girl with Terry Tkachuk, an interview series that inspires women to live their most stellar life. Terry is the co-founder of the Stellar Girl movement, and she is sitting down with women all over the world to hear about the key moments in their lives and how they lived boldly, compassionately, and ultimately became a stellar girl.
Welcome to Speaking Stellar Girl. I'm your host, Terry Tkachuk, and I'm thrilled to have Metta Murdaya joining me today. Metta is this co-founder of Juara, a skincare and award-winning skincare line, and is rooted in self-care as well as nurturing a fast-paced and healthy life. Her products have earned an Eco Beauty Award and Best Product Awards from Shape Magazine, Women's Health, and many more. Metta was featured in Globe Asia as one of the 99 most powerful women, and she received a Shine On Award from Good Housekeeping magazine. And Shine On is all about Stellar Girl, so you are so Stellar Girl, and welcome, Metta. I'm so happy to have you on Speaking Stellar Girl.
Hi, thank you. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm very excited to be here.
Fantastic. I'm going to get right to it because you have an award-winning skincare line and we and our listeners want to hear all about it. You're originally from Jakarta, Indonesia. I know that you are in New York right now. You travel back and forth. I would love to hear how you started this company and why you felt the need to carry on the Indonesian tradition into your skincare line.
Yeah, wow. It's been quite the journey. I guess I could say that for sure. My origin story was I was never in skincare. I probably didn't even pay attention to it, and it was like the last thing on my mind. But the first thing on my mind was doing really well at work, graduated from business school, worked really hard up the corporate ladder, and that was what was on my mind. Until one day, I think it's just too many hours, too many days where you don't go to doctors, your health goes down, but you're 20s and you think you're totally invincible. You just kind of hit a wall, or I guess there's a whole particular story to it, but like I just hit a wall between an accident and like mindset shift. Was like, okay, hold up. I walked by the mirror one day and it was like, oh my God, like, what is this? It's not Halloween. Like, who is this looking back at me? This like really like I didn't look good. And it just kind of hit me. If I don't start taking care of myself right now, like while I'm in my 20s, what am I going to look like when I'm in my, God forbid, 40s, which I've so cleared. And that's really the inspiration of Juara skincare. I started was looking for something that was not like for skin, but for health. It was for mental health, physical health, overall feel good health. And it starts with the skin because that's what I take a look at. So went to all the stores, didn't find anything that I thought was not natural and just made me feel good and also worked. And so I started thinking about my Indonesian tradition called Jammu, which has been around, for thousands of years. But sometimes we kind of forget, we have it within us, like our history, our background, our intuition, whatever it is, really to keep us healthy. And so I was like, whoa, I'm going to tap into this almost like backyard knowledge I've had my whole life because I've been so busy chasing modern this, Western that, all these fancy things. Like I say that, but sometimes it's simplicity. So Juara is a skincare line that I created. It means winner or champion.
I love that because that is so Stellar Girl. That's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. And it was funny because we couldn't come up with a name. My two business partners was my housemate, who's also, like I could hear her like, at the work table when she was at home. Just because, and because we were all, these career girls, and a doctor, my other business partner, and we felt like we wanted to be the champions of our own lives. We wanted to rock our own world, and
that's
and
perfect.
That kind of nobody thought about self-care back then. So to cut it short, to get to why we created something for ourselves. Really, we were the girls who we wanted at that point these products for, this natural based line based on a 2,000-year-old healing tradition that worked great for these like hustling girls in New York who lived in the East Village. We were having lots of fun that made us feel good. So that's kind of our story of how we were inspired to create it.
I love that you incorporated skincare with wellness and
oh my gosh,
healthy from the inside out, as well as what we topically put on top of our skin.
Yeah.
How our skin absorbs everything we put on it. So you're putting in these ingredients that are actually healthy for our bodies.
Yes, absolutely. And I think what we recognized back then that is now getting a lot more popular now. This, there's the narrative that skin's like your biggest organ, so you have to take care of it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But really, skin is also an expression of what's happening on the inside of us. So like, if we are, no matter what we put on our skin, if we're just not having a great day, like you can see it on your face when you're super stressed, when you don't sleep enough, when you're not taking care of yourself, it comes out in your skin. And so we find these topical solutions, but we kind of have to address, Juara is about kind of the mindset of taking care of yourself holistically, even though, we use skincare rituals in our face, but it's really about the whole you. And that's what the whole tradition is about, and how you become a winner. We don't just do it superficially. We kind of have to sort of
start inside.
Yeah, we gotta be all into ourselves, inside and out.
I love that. I absolutely love that. So for those listening, like who would want to start a skincare line, what's, looking back now after what you've championed, what's the best advice you would offer?
Oh my gosh. Totally don't do what we did. I mean, it was super fun what we did.
Learn from my mistakes.
There's certain things that I feel that one can do. It's, people talk a lot about like, I'm so passionate about this. I always, I'm just gonna get to the chase. Passions are great. Purpose is better. Like if I'm passionate about something, I used to own a bar before, that was just so funny because I can now really say it's like
done it all.
I've been through the whole, like I run a bar, I own a bar, so like, but that's one form of like trying to feel good, but maybe not like the self-care version in the long run. But my whole point is I would never do it again now, because that was a passion and I've gone past it. Purpose is start with a purpose. The reason I wanted to do this is not because I wanted to create a skincare line and make a great product. It's because I wanted to be healthy and I wanted to help other people be healthy too. Mm-hmm. I wanted people to feel confident. And honestly, we couldn't find a name for our brand until it was like, dude, we're about to print the tubes. We don't have a name. And Juara just came like right before a run. It was like such a funny commercial moment, like inspiration. And
but sometimes that happens.
Exactly, because it so fit what it was. We're doing this. We created a product that we wanted to help women, or people really, but we were women, feel at their absolute best. And that was our purpose. And that's what kept us going. We launched right before the 2008 crash. I think we were like soaring. We started in a Lower East Side apartment where we were literally crushing ingredients and rubbing it on each other's like backs. It was like, ooh, start rubbing ingredients each other. It's small moments because we were so into it, and we got into over 300 doors. Gosh, I think just literally knocking on doors, cold calling back in the day when that was a thing, before e-commerce was a thing. Mm-hmm. And then we crashed right into the recession where a couple of our chains that we were sold in all went out of business. So the piece, there's one big thing to do, which is know the why of how what you're creating is helping others, because we have had conversations like, why do we keep doing this? We all have graduate degrees. We can go do something else. Why are we struggling? It was because I realized for every time somebody wrote in, I want your product really helped my acne, or my eczema was flaring up and your toner soothed it and I could let go of steroids cream. I was like, oh my God, like when we knew. And that was giving them confidence in their own sort of like, self physically, like appearance wise, but also knowing their skin is stronger. It really gave us this reason to continue. And also this belief that this 2,000-year-old tradition exists for a reason. It's not fluff.
No.
Like if women and healers were giving these potions, because it's originally a topical, it's like super juicing. We were all into juicing with turmeric before people knew what turmeric was here, I felt.
Right.
And topical things for your skin too. If think about it, if you were using it hundreds of years ago and it didn't work, and you were giving it to your kids too, and if it didn't work for them, why would you? The tradition wouldn't live on. You know what I mean? Right. Things that pass down that work, things that don't work or harm, kind of get filtered out. So I was so convinced that here's this tradition that the US, that us in the West, we didn't know about the sense of balance, the sense of enjoying healthy ingredients, just the method of taking care of yourself, not just putting things quickly on your face and going. It was so important that if we could share it, it would just make more people happy and satisfied. And that kept us going. So anybody who starts a skincare line, know your real purpose of why it's not just a fun thing, but how it can help others.
And I love that you are consumer based, because you're the consumer.
I am. Yes, we are definitely the consumer.
I
team.
mean, that's what you talk about in your mission at your company, that you created this product because you're the consumer, and why wouldn't we make something for ourselves that we love and we enjoy, and you have a purpose. So
Yes,
you know your why, and that's why
and
it was successful. And
it definitely helps. The other thing I would also suggest for people who start now, and this is more the hard and fast advice, is know the market that you're going to enter, because it's a very, very crowded space. And it's no longer like what we did. We had this idea of this brand and no one really knew what Jammu was or Indonesia was. Maybe they knew Bali, and we spent so much time educating that I think we did a lot of heavy lifting. Instead of grabbing what was faddish, we did something that no one ever knew before, but we weren't really financed like a company who could steamroll through that.
right.
So it's just to think about, how much effort, time, and capital you have, and if you have, and how much heavy lifting you'd have to do to get into the channels to grow that you want to.
I love that at Stellar Girl. And it sounds like you have a lot of women that around you that are your business partners. You mentioned a doctor and your other business partners. So you obviously are a champion of women. So, and have that and surround yourself with powerful, strong women who shine. So let's talk about how we as a society, for the young girls or even us, who are a bit older, can champion, get some water. Yes. Can champion women. Like, how can we better champion each other?
So, it's interesting. I feel like I'm more of a champion of partnership and collaboration.
Okay.
That's really, so I am a champion of women, but in order for us to actually stand together and support each other, we have to collaborate.
Of course.
So, interesting fun statistic. I am still with my business partners that I started with. We are still in each other's weddings. It's like entrepreneurship. There's a statistic that like most entrepreneurs don't make it. It's even worse
because they're entrepreneurs versus entrepreneurs. I learned that on Clubhouse.
Okay. So they want to do it, but they're not committed to doing it.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, it's okay. It's also, it's hard. It is really hard, because for what you put out there, someone's got to want it too, enough for going. But really, partnerships is a tough one, and I really, it's like my two business partners are like my wives. We joke with each other, but it's like, wow, we're legally bound to each other. We have money tied up with each other. We don't always agree with each other, but we have this baby. And we have to raise it, and we have to bring it up, and it's never going to grow up and go to college. Like it kind of does. You kind of have to grow with it too. And so one of the things is collaboration. I think we were talking on a Clubhouse too. I started a club there instead of doing it myself. It's this whole concept of partnering with other women. One of the things I like to do is I actually try to connect with people who are similar values, diverse experiences. And that's a
great way to look at it. Yes.
And that is how I even chose my business partners. We had similar values. I trust them. We know that it's going to be friendship over money at the end of the day. We'll never steal each other. I'm just being very specific.
Right.
Well, we find things that, whatever it is that we find close to home. So there's some values that are the same, but meet people from different backgrounds. Like for example, like my friends, we all believe, let's say, in the value of continuous learning and growth. No matter what we do, we love that comfortable feeling of like the growth mindset. We love that feeling of being challenged because we don't know the answer. We get all curious and we find it. But we're all very diverse in its background. Like I'm kind of in the beauty industry, I'm from Indonesia, from America. I'm very like in the business school kind of corporate background. My other friends are doctors or psychologists with wildly different backgrounds from different places. Others, they just come from different walks of life and different places, different religions. And because we come from different places, we're constantly learning from each other. Sometimes challenging each other with interesting conversations, but because we have these similar belief of like trust, friendship, care for each other, it really creates a lot of space for learning, growth, and And just, it's just, if you think of like the Venn diagram of like the shared space, like we're very different people, but like the more we get to know each other, the more in common we kind of have, but we also benefit from what we're not in common. So I would say that's a really good way to start supporting and expanding our own impact and influence.
It is so important
and that's, I think,
and experience different cultures and the diversity and traveling and getting to know what else is out there in the world, which is something that you do, travel a lot, something that brings you joy, because we're all missing that. We're missing traveling. Where is the first place that you want to go back to?
I'm supposed to go to Asia in a month.
Okay. Let's hope that happens.
I think that I will definitely be going there. I'm going to be going to different places. I'll be like, triple masked and careful and super everything. But no, I did realize in the pandemic, what I missed was just, because I was good. I stayed, I did my part, and worked like crazy, because that's what we do as entrepreneurs during a pandemic. We're like, oh my gosh,
hunker down.
So that was the, so that's where I want to go. But what I did miss is I did miss the just almost like the exposures to different things, to challenges, to questions. And another interesting thing in terms of going back to like, what can women do to support each other? This is more of a personal thing that I really leaned into over the last year or two. Oftentimes we want to like meet and connect with people because we're seeking answers to something like, hey, can we do this together? How can we do this together? I want to do this. Can you help me? And I started having this exercise where instead of looking for people to connect, because I want, let's say, it'll be simple, a transaction like LinkedIn, we're constantly like, hi, I would like to connect with you because there's maybe something that I have that you want, or something that I want that you might have. But looking to connect people by like asking questions, thinking of interesting questions to ask people, instead of like connecting with people for what they might be able to offer you, but thinking about what we can learn about them.
Each other.
Just for the space of giving people space to speak and be heard. I've just found myself, it's been so interestingly enriching and nourishing. And I find, people that I'm collaborating with that I never thought I would. I also do these Instagram lives. What's so interesting is meeting these like content creators who I think I'm like, hey, we're going to have this 20-minute conversation about like this specific thing about you and digital marketing. And like, oh, through this conversation, because of the questions I asked, oh, I didn't realize you were passionate for photography and you're from this country, that let's talk about something different, like lighting, like she was so passionate about it. And I learned so much, but we found this connection that was so not what I came with the intention of doing, because
I love those surprises
and creative questions. Yeah. So that's what I'd say is two good things for collaboration and partnership and supporting other women.
Well, of course, we need that stellar girl mindset and to collaborate. And someone mentioned something that I learned from someone else who was on the show, Dr. Miranda Braun. She said she does purposeful promotion. So when you go back to what you were saying earlier about, it's about purpose. It's not just about championing and supporting each other. You have to do it with a purpose. So it's purposeful promotion. And so I always grab everything I can from all of my guests about, things that I can learn. And I learn something every single time I do this. And I absolutely love having these conversations with women all over the world from all different aspects of, skincare, health, beauty, fashion, fitness, companies. They bring so much to you guys, just bring so much to this platform. And I appreciate all of it. So that is fantastic. So let's talk about what's up and coming for you. I know that you have a book coming out in June.
I do.
So please share.
So yes, I'm super excited about this because it's so funny that I was writing it during a pandemic. We were supposed to actually launch last year, but it's a book called the Jammu Lifestyle. Our whole Juara brand is, as we talked about, is that she is that woman is an iconic woman. She is an example of like a Jammu healer. Like basically she's got like, she's got her like ninja basket of different concoctions. Like, you've got a cold, here, drink this. You're not feeling good. It's, it's the time of your month, drink this. But it's really kind of talking about what Juara is based on, which is this tradition that focuses on health on three different pillars. One is, it's prevention of illnesses. So it's always easier to take care of yourself to prevent getting sick than it is to treat it once you get sick.
Correct.
You know, so there's a whole part of it that talks about kind of like, you know, including recipes too for like healing. I shouldn't say healing, but yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Just keeps your immune system so it's like more resilient. It keeps you more resilient because we're never going to live in a bacteria-free environment or like this whole thing of like, I want it so clean. I'm being realistic. I come from a third world country that's like an inland country. We're surrounded by all stuff, but we want to be strong enough that our bodies can be resilient. We want to be like the Juara, like the winner, tackling all these, you know, anything like viruses or bacteria. So it's about strengthening you physically from the inside. It's also the next part we talk a lot about what makes it effective is it's also about embracing the senses. And this is the thing that I kind of want to lean in on for here. We don't take enough time to literally savor our food, savor the air, like this whole experience. Like for 2,000 years, we didn't have doctors or machines or all these things giving you tests. You take a medication or like a turmeric tonic, you know, or a ginger tonic, and you drink it, and the next day the healer goes, how do you feel? And you kind of have to be like, how do I feel? Now, if we had a little more awareness or mindfulness to our experiences, it could really enhance our just daily life. And if we are in a good space, you know, like we talk about our beauty ritual in Indonesia, like even in Juara, you're not just doing a 4-step cleanser, toner, serum, moisturizer, thank you. I mean, it's great, but like your cleanser, like you're cleansing off the dirt of the day. It's like your mind, you're toning and rebalancing with, you know, positive energy, as well as really good hyaluronic acid and tamarind extract and kombucha.
Yes.
So this thinking of ritualizing and putting meaning and purpose to your appreciation of your everyday, like even like your eggs in the morning. I mean, just feel like when you chew it, see how it feels in your mouth. Like these savory moments is part of being alive and healthy. And that's kind of where joy comes in. And even if it's kind of uncomfortable sometimes, like, oh, I'm a little cold, I don't have my coat, like feel what cold feels like. It's a reminder you're alive, you know, like, you know, so really getting into your senses is another part that's important to enhance the effectiveness of what you do. And of course, and the last part is community, then share that experience. It's sometimes we think of self-care as me time, and you see these pictures of like being in the bathtub and whatever. And yeah, there's this very commercial look that me time is solo for me, but self-care is also we time. You know, how can we spend it with people who we care about, and how can we contribute to somebody else's self-care experience? So our whole culture is very group oriented. The downside is everyone's like in your biz and there's like way too much gossip, but like that's another session. but the point is you're never really alone, and there's always going to be somebody who kind of watches out for you, just because it is kind of a tribal culture. So those three things are specific to the Indonesian Jammu tradition. I mean, it's just three simple things if you think about it. It's just,
I love that perspective on life that you said. Self-care is we care.
Yeah.
Like I've never looked at it like that.
Yeah. And
that's amazing. So those are the three in your book.
Those
So
are the three pillars we talk about in the book.
Prevention, yes, the embracing the senses, and then community.
Yeah. And there's recipes. There's also hacks for people like me who don't necessarily want to follow entire recipes, but little ways to add, like sprinkle a little bit of this in your regular food. So it's a real integration. I don't want to say fusion, but it is an integration of like how our seemingly very exotic tradition actually is very applicable in our everyday life in the US. And since I grew up in both cultures, like literally, I kind of natively see how one can fit into the other. So, and it's beautiful. The pictures are amazing. The photographer is amazing. He did it through the pandemic, so some of the shoots were kind of insane.
I can't wait to. I can get this on Amazon, or I can get this on your website. When
you can get this, it's going to be available for pre-order. Starting next week. It is already in press, so it's
so exciting. And now you can add author to your extensive resume and your That is no, it's a huge deal. You are now an author. To have a book published is a celebration, or we are going to celebrate you. I can look at it that way too, because that is I absolutely love everything that you're about. I love that Juara stands for winning champion, like strong, like it's what a good fit for Stellar Girl. And I so appreciate you coming on today and sharing your journey and your story, because we all have a story to tell. And I love that we unfolded a little bit of it to here today. I thank you again for joining us. I think this is fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for doing this. I love that you're actually elevating and just bringing people and women together to talk about this.
While having fun.
Great. Yes. And that is all about it. It's the fun part.
We forget about that. So we're going to bring the fun back.
Yep.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Talk soon. And we might have a part 2 when your book comes out. I would love to hear more about how that's all doing. So we'll join you again.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much, Metta.
So much.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that bell icon to be notified of new episodes. To learn more about the Stellar Girl movement, please visit us at STELLARGIRL.com.